What's up, you guys? I'm Jaquan,
I'm Jasmine.
and welcome to the Film Spill.
So today, guys, we're going to be reviewing Marvel's Runaways. This is an action series, and here's the summary. 6 teenagers from different backgrounds unite against a common enemy, their criminal parents, who collectively run an organization called Pride.
This was definitely one of our OG Marvel shows when we first got into, watching a bunch of series. Marvel's Runaways was definitely one of those shows that we watched. The rating I'm gonna give this show is gonna be a 2. Let's get into my pros and my cons. So very first pro, like I said, it's a Marvel show. Anytime Marvel release anything, we're gonna definitely check it out. It was definitely an interesting story. Just think about the idea of like you having to fight your parents. That's just crazy, and your parents are these villains. I like how each of the kids had their own abilities and skills. I like how the kids stuck together. I like how the kids fought back, like I said, even against their parents. Jonah definitely had some cool abilities, and Nico actually killing Jonah. The cons I'm gonna give this show is, from what I read, I found out that this show did not really connect to the comic books as far as like the actual storyline itself. Because I think in the actual show they was making the parents kind of a little bit more sympathetic as far as like, well, they're only doing this evil stuff because they're working for Jonah or they're trying to kill Jonah. Whereas in the comics, apparently they were just flat out evil. These parents were horrible. Just think about it. You having to fight your kids just crazy, even though they had their own ideals and mission, is just wow. Season 3 was really slow. One of the biggest personal cons is Alex Wilder's hair. It was just atrocious. Even though from what I saw in the comic book, his hair was actually like that. Jonah definitely was an op, and this show didn't really have too much action compared to a lot of the other Marvel series I like. But yeah, I give it a 2.
Okay, guys, so I give this show a 3 out of 5. Like you said, usually Marvel stuff is pretty good, but it's crazy how the show came out so long ago in 2017 that we kind of could barely remember it. But when I was looking up stuff about it, I do remember that it was a lot of powers, and I kind of like that type of stuff. So the very first episode, like he was saying, the teenagers discover that their parents were villains, and they watched them as they sacrificed a young girl named Destiny, which I think is just so crazy to see, like to figure out that about your parents. So they all found out that they had powers besides Alex. He was just like really smart. Nico had a magic staff. Carolina is part alien and she has a glowing body with light-based powers. Chase had powerful laser shooting tech. Gert has a telepathic connection with a genetically engineered dinosaur, and Molly possesses superhuman strength. It sucked when their parents framed them for Destiny's murder because they found out they were villains and they had to go on the run, hence the name Runaways. Season 2, they were on the run, they were training and developing their powers. Some romantic relationship formed, of course, and Nico tapped into the dark dimension's powers. And then the parents' organizations end up crumbling because they were having a bunch of like internal conflicts because they had to like go up against their kids. Season 3, Nico took the center stage this season because she became more powerful but also more darker. She clashed with Carolina a lot because of her light powers, but also some of the teens were trapped in a dark dimension by a sorceress, and she had to use her powers to rescue them. This season also had a Cloak and Dagger crossover, and Gert tragically died during the fight with the sorceress. But overall, I think it was a pretty cool show, and I give it a 3.
Yeah, just like always, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment. You guys have a good one.